Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and we are hanging out. I'm going to be doing another hobby hangout, and this time it is finally happening. I have busted out some of my Maggotkin of Nurgle things, and so I'm very excited about that. Don't really have any agenda for today as far as just what to talk about. I'm just going to be here hobbying. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it in chat. I'm happy to chat with everybody. We'll go to the downward cam here. Let me adjust my light. Here we got the music playing. I will show off here. I've already begun work on it. Late last night. My feculent Gnarlmaw. You can see I'm going for a light, like driftwood style of wood bark. I mean, and yeah. So right now I'm just kind of tidying up the base with a lot of little details on here to pick up, and then after that I will be going after the other bits on the actual tree itself. So let's start working on that base. So. See the chat's working. Hello, everybody. So we got Zombie Man. Hello, hello. Omniphage, Michael, and Jack, who is just coming back from a GT in Canada. Dry brush. Here's what I want. Campfire gains a new temporary sun. Well, you know, I'm nothing if not reliable. My plan right now is to have it stick around for a good long while. Not forever, because that's, you know, I know myself. But long enough that I can do some real work on bases. Like I said, this, well, I haven't said it yet because the video hasn't gone out yet, but I have a video going out this week explaining kind of my plans for the army. It's really a test bed for the next level of hobby that I haven't reached before, as far as like custom bases and kit bashing and things like that. So it's got to be around long enough to experiment with. Let's see, give me one sec. Here we go. Let's see, got 9th place. Yes, Jack did well. I was looking at, on the Best Coast Pairings app, all the different opponents you had. You had some stiff competition there. Can't do it once I have paint on a model. I keep it forever. I should do that if I'm honest with you. A smarter Doug would absolutely take to that style. The problem is I got this wandering eye, you see, and my wandering eye outpaces my storage capacity, so unfortunately it just has to be that way sometimes. It's going to be harder trading it on. Yep, that's me trying to use my own psychology to keep myself from doing this. Or keep myself from getting rid of armies. You know, it's like maybe if I put enough work into it, all of a sudden I'll have that attachment. I don't know. I saw it more back in the day when I was really young with 40K, where it's like people would pick an army and they would just like identify, like, I'm a Space Wolves player, and they like growl at their opponents and wear a wolf tooth necklace and all this random, you know, just ridiculous stuff. But they got into it, that little character element. I was like, oh man, I want to be like that, but I don't hold on to anything long enough to be able to. Well, I guess that's the reverse problem. I don't have the attachment to make me want to hold on to anything long enough for that. So that's what I'm working on, building an attachment to an army. And I think I started off well as far as choosing, you know, the reason for my choice is like because I love the Maggotkin model. I've just never, he's the longest I've ever owned a model. And yeah, just a reason I've kept him. So I was like, let's just lean into whatever that reason is. Maybe I just have always been a Maggotkin player and I never knew it. I've played everything else, Lord knows. Trying to watch Big Brother. Big Brother's still on? Wow, I did not know that. You're thinking of a different show. I was thinking of something that's very, very old. 21 seasons and counting. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, I'm not wrong. Playing orcs inspired me to become a British football hooligan. That's funny. Hey, you know, Kenzie, everyone has their thing. I don't have a reality TV thing that I like, because I haven't had cable in like 9 years, I think, maybe. Or gone out of my way, because I know that sometimes like Hulu and that will have some kind of reality show ported in, but just never went out of my way to find one that I liked. But if we're in the process of sharing dirt, shows that I have watched the entirety of, I'll go Vampire Diaries. For whatever reason, they have the most stellar soundtrack. Whoever is their music guy on set, like in charge of like getting music, whatever like that guy rocks. What are some other embarrassing things? We just finished Bob's Burgers, the whole run, catching up with that. But that's not like a dirty secret type thing. Yeah, people love Bob's Burgers. What else? I've seen most of Pretty Little Liars because I was on the couch and my wife was binging it. After like the third season, I was like, okay, honey, this is getting... It was a rougher show. Didn't have the redeeming quality of the great soundtrack. 2+ stuff for anyone. How do you paint bright yellow? Well, I'm not a yellow expert. I can tell you, if you're just starting off, I have been loving the contrast yellows. Nadrag yellow is a really good color. For like these things, I guess it doesn't show up super well. So they were very bright yellow, just with the regular Nadrag yellow, and then I put a wash of a few different washes on it. To answer your question, doesn't really matter, but yeah. So you can always dull stuff down. I think thin coats is always the multiple thin layers of yellow is always going to be show up the best. I thought that True Blood was much better than Vampire Diaries. True Blood. True Blood was good. I like True Blood. That was a fun one, especially when you got past season 1. I liked it because characters actually died. If you don't want to do contrast, recommend going Rakarth Flesh and then Cassandora. Ah, that's an interesting yellow. Yeah. Let's see. Question for Jack. Jack, if you're listening while you're driving, any tips on varying skin tones? I know you did a big variety on your Blood Reavers. Painting some right now to practice for Warcry bands. Oh, okay. Jack saw it and he had answer. Okay. Yes, I think amongst our group, and I'm including the R1 guys in that, contrast for skin, that's my jam. I hate painting skin so stinking much. Let's see. So I need this soon. I saw a question in the chat. Give me 1 second to find some paints, and I'll be on there again. Okay, let's see here. Volsky, hi Doug, how's it going? Are you going to do a lore video of Gotrek? I will eventually. Absolutely. There's a lot, because there's so many books to his story, and I want to cover at least partially cover them. And I haven't read or listened to Realm Slayer yet, so I got homework to do for that one. They didn't put his lore in the most accessible places, like a Battle Tome, or I guess there's a mini White Dwarf thing coming out this month. He requires a little bit of research for folks who have never heard of Gotrek before. It's kind of how I feel about Thanquol as well. same boat, where it's just like, cool character, want to talk about it, need to do some work first. Let's see. So, Doug, how many trees? Well, I'm starting with 1. And I want to get a sense of how many I will practically use before I just go buying trees. All willy and nilly. Jack talked me off of the Nurgle's Menagerie Battalion cliff, where I was going to need like a bajillion trees. Because that's the one where Horticulus can like just poop a tree every single turn, and you can like focus on using your points. And I suppose if they had something like the Blood Tithe table where they could be used for in-game effects, like as utility, that might have a little bit more gas in the engine, but as it is just for summoning, is probably not the best. So Jack's been helping me come up with something a little, well, not tournament ready because I'm not like a competitive dude, but having something where I can go to an event and not just get stomped for 4 games, because that's no fun, right? So, yeah, that's what we're working on. Hey, Doug, just working on my Skaven armies for armies on parade board. Have you ever made one? Would you? I have never done that, but eventually I want to. Do you know what armies on parade is? I'm curious now. I have always wanted to enter, and I feel like every single year I only hear about it when it's like right at the date, so I don't have time. But it's on my like hobby bucket list. You know what I mean? Like this stuff you gotta do at some point. And it's 2019's been a good year for crossing off hobby bucket list stuff. Pretty pleased with that one. Non-contrast, I went with Catachin Fleshtone. I've had good success with Avalorn and some other stuff. I know it's not for everybody. I've had terrible success with their spray paint can of that color. I'm not sure why, and I've heard about it from other people too, that for some reason that specific color, it kind of explodes. Like it just doesn't settle well. I don't know if it's like a paint density for the nozzle thing. I don't know, but that one didn't pan out well for me. Spin him around looking for rocks. We'll be painting a lot of rocks on this guy. You can get Amazon Parade is on Saturday, 26th of October. 26th of October. Ooh, that's gonna be a tight. I gotta look at the requirements for that. That's gonna be a tight squeeze if I want to do my Nurgle stuff. Okay, what is next? Next, we're gonna start doing all the gross pus things on the tree. I'd only do yellow and iron jaws. They make it work. Yeah, the green and yellow is a very, very striking combination. Is this Sophie Myers playing right now? I don't know, but I doubt it. This is a YouTube has their own channel of royalty-free music that creators can use. Well, I mean, anyone can play it. It's just a YouTube channel. But I do that so that I don't get any kind of copyright problems. My point being, like, I don't think if there's any like named, professional artists on there. There was an Age of Sigmar tournament here in Madrid at the Freak Fest 2019 venue. I wonder who won. I don't know. I'm sure I can look it up on the... Well, if they used Best Coast pairings, that would be nice, but... Let's see... Boom, my first couple of boxes of Gloomspite Gits. That's awesome. They give up their names when they make the channel. Exactly right. You are just lo-fi beats. So many gross little pustules on this dude. Okay. An aesthetically amazing army. Okay. Painting a skull crusher. Skull crusher. Is that the demon on the back of the thing, or is that the human rider? I can't recall. Where'd my music go? Here we go. Let's see what's going on. Anything in the news today? Beastgrave's coming out. I don't know if anyone here is an Underworlds fan. I'm excited. I like the new big sets because it's a good on-ramp point for everybody. And the outrage over cards being rotated out seemed to kind of... It's dwindled a bit. That's nice. Wondering if the Doggo Riders are going to be Maw tribes. Ooh, I don't know. It's an interesting thought, though. Yeah, I know. I wasn't super like. There were a lot of folks who were very excited at seeing the sort of classic Goblin look come back. Just weird because they kind of ex-nayed all of the stuff for that little sub army. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about anything, like as far as it goes. The models look technically great. I mean, like as far as like clearly an artist put a lot of work into them. They look fantastic. Kenzie, I'm actually of the opinion that the Beastgrave warbands might not herald new armies. I'm kind of the same way. I am cautious of thinking that everything we see that's new represents an entire faction. I don't think that's necessarily the case. But I have no proof for that, just like other folks have no proof of them coming. Have we had a point where we've seen an army come out in Underworlds before it came out in, like, as a full-fledged faction? Have we had that yet? Because, like, Slaves to Darkness with the Dark Oath is the closest thing I can think of. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Someone correct me. I can't think of it. Oh, that's right. Gloomspite. You are correct. It did precede the book. Gold star for Omniphage. It doesn't make sense, because if they're going to be part of a faction in a battle tome, why wouldn't they just put it in with the book? No idea. No idea. The little scant bits of information they give us about their process, it does. I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, like they made sculpts that ultimately projects were canceled, that kind of stuff, where it's like, you know, we have these, we'll use an example of Kurnothi, right, because people are pretty mixed on them. Have all these, like, designs that we made for a Kurnothi army, and then we decided to ex-nay that project in favor of what we now know as the Sylvaneth design, which they're kind of similar. So it could be something like that. No idea whatsoever. But they have the models laying around. Let's just do something with the time and effort it took to make those. Let's see. Someone said to play Warcry you must play beasts. That's baloney. Do you mean monsters? If you mean like the new expansion, no, you don't. Nothing's really required in terms of beasts. Hello. So have you had the Maggotkin, or you sold them, or have you sold an army for them? As Nurgle player. Oh yeah. So you're asking, have I had them before? No. I painted the Glotkin because I love the model and I never got rid of it. So yeah, no, that's all there is to it. Grab some Screamer Pink. We'll pick out the gums of that guy. Does anyone know why they got rid of those Warhammer 40k digital and physical format? How to paint? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't see the economic value of it. That's always my assumption when they get rid of something. Sorry if I go a little on the quiet side. I'm in here getting the finer details of this guy's gums, I guess. I think it's technically their gums. It's a mouth, so. Wondering if mercenaries are worth it? I don't know. Another one of those things where everyone thought the sky was falling and it turned out to be nothing. It turns out everybody likes command points. Okay. Good, got that done. Okay, what is next? So yeah, I'm still waiting on my base roller thing to make my wood plank bases come in. So I decided, like, well, let's start with a model that doesn't need that, and that would be this dude. So that's where my head is at in terms of that. Let's grab the bronze. The only mercenary company faction that ever interested me was the undead one with the necromancer. I don't know why, just thematically that just sounded cool, just like hiring a necromancer. I don't know how good it is, but okay. Looks like they're pretty aggressively costing the mercy for the mercenaries for Warcry. Yeah, it seems like I wouldn't be surprised if they were just very much intended to be a part of the game from the beginning, and then they just wanted to slow release stuff a little bit. No idea. Question, what factions are you looking forward to in Beastgrave? What factions am I looking forward to? The Beastmen themselves look really interesting. I haven't played Underworlds in a little bit. I'm interested to see what happens when everything kind of gets shooken up a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I like their size, their model count, and I'm sure they're going to be very fast, which is a cool little. It's a very important thing to have in that game, is someone with some speed. That's probably it, honestly. Like, I don't have a whole lot of big thoughts for it. I don't understand the game enough, like from a commentator perspective. Like, yeah, I see people online having conversations where they're just like, just list off all the different card combinations and names, and I'm like, I don't know what any of those things do. So I can't keep up with like the people who like, that's like their main jam. But I'm excited. I mean, I'm a beer and pretzels player of that game. I was actually hoping to play it at Nova, but they split up their event over the course of like 6 evenings. Or no, that's an exaggeration. Like 3 evenings, I think. I was like, nah. So what's the story behind the tree thing? The tree thing is a feculent gnarl maw. It is a node of pure corruption and grossness that exists usually within the garden of the chaos god Nurgle. And when you play, so I don't know what the impetus of your question is if you're not familiar with the army, but as you play the game, you corrupt the land around you, and so you get to plant one of these suckers, and you can plant more as the time goes on. It's like you're corrupting the earth around you with disease and rot. And it's gross, and it's cool. The cards are my least favorite part of the game. Yeah, for me too, honestly. What I did that made the game fun for me, honestly, is I went and I net decked. Like, I just got a deck off of one of the online resources, and I just played that, and the rest of it was just up to me trying to figure out what to do. Like, I didn't even think about other combinations. Because, like, the game, I mean, I feel the same way about Magic the Gathering, where it's like, the game is fun to me. All the, like, ancillary, like, you know, purchasing war bands to get specific cards, all that, it had no interest to me. X-Wing kind of broke me out of that love. I will say that it's better than X-Wing in that regard, as far as like making you want, incentivizing you to buy things just for the cards. It's better than X-Wing because you can only have 1 copy of everything, whereas in X-Wing you would buy 3 copies of a ship if you needed 3 of those cards, because you can have up to 3. Did you add some gnaw hole bits to it? I did. I put one of the little furnace things from the gnaw hole. I got a Nurgling hanging off the side, a rat from the Plague Monk kit, and a scroll from the Plague Monk kit as well. Just little. That's the thing. I don't do major conversions, but just little things to add some pieces of flair, if you will. Jack, are you driving right now? Headed home? Jess is, my lovely wife, is headed out of town this week, so should have some extra time for gaming. So it's a feculent normal, yes. Sweet. speech to text. I figured. And I think I just got the one bell left. Yeah, so doing a little. Thought I'd start with the feculent normal. One, because I'll always use it. I didn't realize until I was knee deep in the Death Guard Codex for 40k that you can also use the feculent normal over there. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's a twofer. Oh, I did miss the joke at first. Sorry. I was trying not to get paint everywhere. Okay. That's a bummer. I feel like you were pretty proud of that one. Okay. Alright, looking good. This guy's turning out cool. I was kind of worried at first, so I primed him with the Gracier for the contrast, and started painting up the driftwood thing, and I was like, I love the way the wood looks, but I'm worried that it's going to be too faded and that kind of stuff. But now that I'm adding other stuff like the basing and the weird little, I don't know, phalanges or whatever they are, the thing growths coming out of it, it's starting to look better and better. So I need that. I need that. Aggro students. There we go. What is everyone else painting right now? I know we got we got some people driving. We got a blood crusher. Is that what it was before? Yeah. What's everyone else working on? And who's excited to go back to work tomorrow? Not I. Sea of Thieves. Let's see. Did you see the Gorger Ogres rebased onto rounds? They did that a while ago, didn't they? I feel like that was an old thing because people were excited about the army to come. I mean, people have been anticipating that book for quite a while. I thought it was a while ago, but maybe I'm wrong. Still playing BL3, so no painting for us. Right on, right on. Oh, Borderlands. Okay, I had to think about that for a hot second. Wondering how much Doug's paint palette weighs. It does have quite a few layers on it. Layers of progress. Getting stuff done. A Maw Crusher. Sweet. Still assembling 5 Boingrot Bounders. I don't really follow the, oh my god, this model's on rounds. Yeah, me either. I did when AOS first dropped because initially that was kind of a good indicator of what was coming next because, you know, they had so much to rebase, and then at a certain point it just became like they're just rebasing it because they can. It's not coming up next. They're on rapid fire doing other stuff. Right. Thought it was all but confirmed. It pretty much is. I mean, well, they're getting something. We know that because of the Feast of Bones thing. I mean, they haven't technically... They announced Maw Tribes, but they didn't... It doesn't say Battle Tome Destruction Maw Tribes, so we don't really know what that means. So, Maw... I don't know. I don't know. All I know is I throw my ends up in the air sometimes and I say, hey, you gotta let go, you know? Just let it come. Don't rush it. Not too worried about it. So, let's see. Gerber Crimson, perfect. I tend to not get very excited about... Well, I mean, that's the thing. I was about to say, I don't get excited about rumors, but it's not really a rumor because they did announce something, right? And whatever that is. It's just still those same vague, not really a preview that GW does where you're like, come on. Like how they promoted Forbidden Power over the course of like 3 conventions and then it came out and nobody bought it. I shouldn't say nobody. Very few people bought it. Battle Sister Bulletin tomorrow. The only reason Mondays aren't awful. Models, rules, or BS. Well, is this... No, it's not their first sister since... Bulletin since Nova, so... I don't know. Hoping to see a Celestine's kit revealed. Celestine's kit revealed? I'm not going to count that. I have no idea. I don't know that army terribly well, to be honest with you. Like on a lineup, I'm not sure I could pick out the various units. I mean, admittedly, a lot of them are just like girl with this gun, girl with this other gun kind of thing. Like, kind of like Fire Slayers are, where it's like, you know, short naked man with a beard plus this weapon. Elite Guard, kind of like the Canoness's right hand girls. Okay, cool. Doesn't work the same way. Yeah. Yeah, that's always been my problem with Fire Slayers. Like, they're just so samey. Let's see. Oakshan personally hyped for the War Clans book coming out. Yeah. I honestly kind of forgot about it a little bit, just because they haven't mentioned it. You know what I mean? Like, it was weird they didn't mention it. I don't know. I was really surprised at the reveal show they didn't talk about it at all. Always hyped for more destruction. Yeah. Wasn't too long after I subscribed that you were painting a Fire Slayer's army. Yeah. That sounds about right. And now Jack has it. And it sits eternally on his shelf because he has too many armies to ever actually play. A lot of which are painted by me. Doug is secretly a commissions painter. I mean, technically... So here's the thing. If you want me to commission paint something for you, here's what you do. You ready? Get me really excited about an army, coerce me into buying into it, and then when I inevitably sell it, then you buy it from me. Got my crackhead prices, as Jack puts it. Because I won't like take money for a commission because I don't paint other people's stuff. Like, I tend to get burnt out very quickly if I'm trying to do something for somebody else. But if it's mine, I hammer through it. Okay, I think we're just about ready for the metallic. For the steel, I mean. Actually, before that. Exactly what you mean, yeah. I'm a very backwards commission painter. Brett plays it. That's true. I feel like he has the beard that makes him like just destined to play that army. It is a cool one. I don't think I've actually played against it since it's got its new rules. Have I? Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I haven't played it on rerolling ones. Question: will we be seeing your first Death Guard videos this week? Not this week. I actually decided to go ahead and start. I was having trouble jumping into 40k lore because I would mention something like, for example, Mortarion is the son of the Emperor. Okay, well, there's a lot to unpack there because that means that implies the existence of an Emperor and he has children. How come he wasn't raised with those children? And those kinds of things. So what I actually decided to do after talking about it with Jess is like not start from the beginning and like go through all of the lore ever, but if I was going to explain to a friend the backstory of 40K, how would I explain it to them and do it in that order? And so actually the notes that I've done videos for, and I just started this weekend, is explaining the Imperium of Man. Not so much its entire history, like but a snapshot of what it is now and kind of the themes and that kind of stuff that are involved with it. And then I'm going to talk about the warp and how the warp works in 40K, because I feel like those two ideas, right? The point of view of the reader, which is always, jammed into being the Imperium, because there's a whole lot of like propaganda and stuff like that. So that's your viewpoint, even though they're not good guys. And then also understanding how the warp works and all the various things that it's affected, because it affects just about everything in the setting. I think those two make really good launch points, and then I'll go into other stuff. Starting with the Death Guard. Death Guard will be the first faction that I represent, simply because I own the book. It's just sitting right there, so it seemed like a no-brainer. But I will get there. 40K on the channel is happening. For this specific week I have coming up, I have 2 lore videos regarding 2 AOS characters, and I have a video detailing like what my plans are for the Nurgle army. 40K history is so long. It is. And that's the thing where it's like, I didn't start off with a full history of the universe. I was like, I make a point to say like, we'll mention these things later on, but like, you can, in the first page of most books, you can get a sense of what the Imperium is like. It's a crappy place to be. And so that's kind of what I was aiming for, is like, what is the tone that needs to be conveyed in order to like explain this setting to somebody, and I think I got it. You got 50 plus books just for the heresy. Yeah, I'm not going to go through every single one of them. We're going to do some broad strokes. And honestly, once I do the background stuff, like, setting up the setting, you know what I mean, in terms of explaining what's going on. With AOS, I generally stick to battle tomes, because that's where I feel like the real meat of like the characters in this epic saga is. And I'll likely do the same for 40K in terms of like, it's easy to get a codex because it's all very well organized. I can crank out a bunch of lore videos that are accurate, up to date. And fans who are diehard and know the older stuff from previous editions, they can chime in, but if it's not in their current codex, like, technically it doesn't exist, and that's kind of a strange thing that Games Workshop has that allows them to change stuff over time. Here we go. This and this. Okay, sorry. Kenzie, question. How's the Warcry anthology coming from me? It's good. It's good. It's still slow. I'm also trying to read the Maggotkin stuff so I can get caught up with this army. And not be a total putz when it comes to putting on the tabletop. But it's the only thing on my reading table right now, just to get it done for the month. So far, every appearance of the Corvus Cabal is just amazing. Why were they called the Death Guard? I know this one. So, Mortarion. He's on this, like, crazy death world, and he organizes a militia to overthrow the existing leader of that world before the Emperor ever shows up. And that group of soldiers is called the Death Guard. And then when he takes command of his own legion during the right before the Horus Heresy, he renames them to the Death Guard as well, in kind of like memoriam of his people. And I saw that Omniphager said, "Yep, they were the Dusk Raiders before." Everyone got a cooler name when their Primarch came. Just one of the perks, you know what I mean? Finished the anthology last night. Pretty solid stories. Yeah, they're not, they're almost like stories I'd expect to read in like those little novellas they put out. What they're just like, they're just interesting little flavorful tidbits, they're not like breathtaking assessments of the universe as a whole, right? There's little things like that to get you pumped and jazzed about the faction you're playing, and it's like, I respect that. Let me see, where did that brush go? Been a huge fan of the Primarch series. I'll check that out. There's a lot of books I want to read. That's the thing that's always kind of kept me from jumping into 40K. Is just so much to get caught up on. But at the same time, I had to tell myself, it's just like, it's not about knowing everything. You know what I mean? It's just not. I can know enough to make stuff interesting and share some cool stories, and I can just learn stuff later. Does any of the Chaos Gods have more than one Chaos Space Marine chapter dedicated to them, i.e. Emperor's Children for Slaanesh? No. No, they don't. So there's the 4 that are dedicated to specific gods, and then there's the Black Legion, who's Chaos Undivided. And the other ones, well, I guess the other ones are all Chaos Undivided, but they all kind of fit into different ways, whereas the Black Legion is like super well organized, and they have a leader at the helm who's like trying to be a mover and a shaker. The other ones, like Night Lords or whatever, they just do their own thing. Just prowl around, being jerks to people. At least one chapter has fallen whole to Slaanesh. I think they were the perfect for something. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Doug's video on the hype gummy so boxed. Not sure how they fit with corn. Oh yeah, Spezia, yeah. Can answer that question for sure. Yeah, I think Slaves to Darkness has some cool stuff for Khorne. Even if it's just like everything, all your Khorne specific units are really aggressive, just a unit of Chaos Warriors to sit back and be more defensive is pretty great. Because they're cheap. Cheap is good. Flawless Toast and The Purge are the only ones I can think of that are related to the Dark Gods. Crimson Slaughter or Cornade, I know. Zombie Man is technically correct. Yeah, and I mean, we can say in the grand scope that a legion fell, but you know there are stories like Nathaniel Garl from the Death Guard who, you know, they all had loyalist elements in them that they tried to purge out. Some more successfully than others, but so for example, there is a story of a good guy Death Guard back when things first went to crap. He has his own series, right? That's the Nathaniel Garrow series. I like that guy. He's a cool character. Yes, the first 3 books of the Horus Heresy, particularly the one on Istvan, as Sir Grunty pointed out, they're just absolutely awesome. Like, they're just really, really good. But it's when they purge all of the... It's when the bad guys get rid of all the good guys in their midst. And there's like... Hack and burn! Man, music jumped up a notch there. Lyrical Tree looks good. Thank you. I'm enjoying how it's coming out. For the tree itself, the actual branches and bark and all that stuff is pretty muted to look like driftwood, and then everything else kind of pops up around it. Painting Boingrot Bounders, sweet. I'm just letting everyone chat about 40k because I don't know enough. That's the thing, is I'm learning, and my lore series will be sharing my journey with everyone. I mean, I know quite a bit, but like my knowledge pretty much taps out when I was in high school, because that's I was super into 40k when I was in high school in terms of the lore and that kind of stuff. And then I just couldn't keep up. And then they started the Horus Heresy series, and I read the first maybe 6 or 7 of those, and then they just, I don't know, man, they've been publishing on overdrive because they're just printing money. My favorite of the ones that I did read, though, was really enjoyed Flight Eisenstein. Just got into 40k and you're soaking up the lore. Yeah. Question: since we all What type of model does Nurgle need? Or would you want to add? Oh, like what kind of unit would I want to add to the army? Oh my gosh, I'm the wrong person to ask. I just started it. Probably stuff with more rend? I don't know. What I'd love is somebody riding a Beast of Nurgle. That'd be a sweet mount. Just like some hero and their lore that are like just, I don't know, maybe it's like the super happy zealots for Nurgle, because like the Beast of Chaos is basically a giant puppy dog, so it would be set to be someone who can keep up with that level of enthusiasm and excitement and just go bounding in the enemy with like unfettered joy. So just having a really, really punchy melee, gets in there kind of hero. But I've never even played a single game. I guess technically I've played a game as Maggotkin because I took my Slaves to Darkness and at Mark's request over at Reeling Ones, played them as Maggotkin of Nurgle, but I don't really count that. Simply because I didn't know the rules beforehand and made a few mistakes and that kind of stuff. I wasn't in the Nurgle headspace yet, you know? I love a replacement for the Marauder style models. Absolutely. That would be amazing. I was a little bit sad when I saw them as part of the mercenaries group, simply because it's like, nah, I wanted this to be a chance to get rid of them. Instead, you're incentivizing people to purchase them. Call them boils. Don't give them a save, but have them pop on people when they die. That's cool. I get behind that. Here's my goal for this army, okay? I'm going to experiment with new types of hobby stuff, so like, you know, my own custom bases and that kind of thing, and my goal is I want to win best painted at an event. I'm putting that stake in the ground. I've been knocking out like hobby bucket list stuff, you know what I mean, like just stuff you just want to get out of the hobby before you get, I don't know, too old or lose the spark of inspiration. And so one of them is I want to win best painted. Possibly the mercenary rules are a mid-stage and getting rid of them. Gives us use for old models for people who want them. That'd be interesting. ADB is a Black Library author. Yes, Aaron Dembski-Bowden. And a cool guy. He gave me a shout out one time and I was like, oh, that's swoon. His Twitter is also a super fun wild ride if you guys are Twitter followers. It's got a good sense of humor. Okay, now I need some Black Templar. Here we go. Excuse me. Let me take a hit of water here. I'm painting right now is all of the bodies for the gross little flies all over this thing. We got to get the coals in the fire. He writes bad guys so well. I agree. I think that's probably the biggest thing he brings. Because, you know, if you just... all you just need is a believable bad guy. And you can go pretty far. Like, your story can stretch pretty hard. As long as we like the villain. It doesn't get you out of... it's not a cheat card for everything, but it certainly helps. Love his Night Lord books. Yeah. Doug, your lore videos got me started in AOS. Oh, that's very kind of you to say. I love hearing that kind of stuff. That's awesome. Well, welcome. I hope you're enjoying yourself, my friend. Krendor gave you a shout out in one of his painting streams. I don't know who that is. Krendor. Is that the name of the YouTube channel? Krendor? I will go and I will thank him. Her. I don't know. I don't know what Krendor is. Okay. Let's grab our hyper super mega detail brush. We're going to do some lettering on that scroll work. He's a World of Warcraft YouTuber. Oh, dang. Sweet. That's probably why I didn't see. Probably a lot of his videos are kind of labeled or whatever like that for World of Warcraft. So for the first time in my life, I used a quadruple lot 4.0 brush. That is the smallest brush I've ever used, and I hated it. Let's try this guy. Ah, that's a little better. Question, still kind of new to this, been in for about a year and a half, 2 years. The goal of the Chaos Gods seems non-perpetual. Like if Khorne wins, won't everything die? What does winning look like? So what you're describing is something that affects the gods in both 40k and AOS, where it's like, you're right, the end game, it doesn't make sense, but their very nature prevents them from having the foresight and the understanding to do anything about that. Give me one sec here. There we go. I had it right in front of me. And so, you know, when your nature is to consume regardless, like we'll say like dominate, right? You used corn. We'll go with corn. It doesn't matter if at some point you will run out of things to dominate and control. It's your nature to do so, and so you can't not. And so you're right. At some point, and this is brought up on a 40k podcast that I love, where in the grand ending, right, because they are truly without time, it's just going to be 4 dudes in a room punching each other in the face. That's what eventually the great game with the Chaos Gods will devolve into. But until then, there are worlds to destroy and people to consume and corrupt. Man, your lore videos are great. The guys at Rerolling Ones kept me feeling like I was still in the hobby when I was really sick. Oh, dude, that's awesome to hear. I'm sure Jack appreciates that as well. He's driving right now. But actually, I got a ton of feedback just like that. There's a lot of folks who are like, hey, I was going through a health crisis. I was laid up for a couple days. This was I was super good to have your stuff. And it's just, it never sounds repetitive, right? It's just so unique and personal to everyone that it means a lot to me. So thank you. Is the Horned Rat a god? Yes, but he is. The 4 OGs don't like him very much, and so they don't let him play in any of their apocalyptic games. To put a spin on the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer song. All right, we are nearing completion. Gotta throw some washes down. Need Nolan oil. Gilliman flush. Spezia says, Real Ones Jack, you're the reason I bought 2 ballistas for my Stormcast. You're my hero. I say that because I make fun of my friend. Yeah, man. Ballistas are sweet. Well, they're sweet when they work. I'll give you that. But for me, I towards the end of my time with my Stormcast, I pulled them out of my list because I was just like, these things just they're not reliable. I went to, I think I took the Stormcast to 2 different events. I think I did. And I just remember like multiple times playing in games where it's just like, it was not even like on average dice this will work. It's like, no, I could even take some pretty crappy rolls and it would work. And then it just got even worse than that somehow. If you are someone who paints gold and brass a lot, I gotta tell you, I saw this on a Warhammer like tutorial vid, where they used the contrast paint Gilliman Flesh, which is like one of the lightest skin colors, to use as a wash, and I love it. Because it's got great coverage, it doesn't pull too heavy, it has a nice warm tone to it, so I don't know. And then if like, say like I just did it here, which I wish I had seen if I can show you, but basically I missed like one tiny little dot of metal, and the Gilliman flesh just covers it right up because it's contrast paint, and you wouldn't even know it was there. Keep those Warcry and AOS games coming. Oh yeah. Rerolling ones is on it. And once, you know, I gotta ride the highs when I get them. So right now I'm all about painting up Nurgle stuff. But once this kind of, the oomph that I have right now slows down, I'll get back to painting terrain so then I can start doing my own narrative campaigns because I got all kinds of stuff. So try Skeleton Horde over Silver. Nice low-key, dull, rusted metal. You know what? I'm gonna do that right now. Let's do it. Skeleton Horde. We'll just pick one of the chains here. I think chains would show it off pretty well. Okay. Let's do it. Oh yeah, that does look all grimy and gross. Omnifish coming in for the second win of the night. I like it. It's subtle, but I bet it would take a really nice dry brush of Stormhost Silver to like really make it pop. I use Iron Hands. Love that silver. Me too. Yes, actually, it has completely replaced Lead Belcher in my mind, and I have loved Lead Belcher. But it just, the coverage is so smooth, and the paint is such a high quality. Greetings from Chile. What is up? Is Warhammer big in Chile? I remember in San Antonio, we had quite a few students come from Chile and correct us if we called it Chile. Can't call it Chile, it's Chile. And they were all super nice. Oopa. AOS is going up. Good. That's awesome. Is that lighter or darker than Lead Belcher? It's a hair darker. And I'm not sure what it is. It's almost like a deeper iron kind of color. I don't have Lead Belcher right now. I threw away my canister, broke open, so to compare it to you. But yeah, it's less reflective. It's more on the gray side of like gray to silver type thing. But it covers so well, and it takes to washes and looks fantastic. Yeah. I use the Sequitors in the Retributor's roll, still keeping the libs in the front line. Cascaders are low. Yeah. Okay, what's left? Let me look at this guy. I need to add some Nurgle's Rot in some places. And highlight the teeth. Okay, we're off. I'm a Lead Belcher spray can man rather than a Lead Belcher brush on man. Yeah, if I had to do something like a large area or I was painting a predominantly silver army, I'd still use Lead Belcher. Absolutely. It's still a good color. I just, in terms of brush on stuff, yeah, I do prefer the iron. What is it? Iron Warriors, yeah. Do you like the new bases and layers that came out when Contrast was released? The new bases. Oh, I mean just in terms of like ways to do... Yeah, the new base colors. Yeah, yeah. If there was a Primarch Royal Rumble, who would win? That's up for debate, my friend. Ooh. I mean... I'm going to say any of the ones that have been corrupted by a Chaos God could like, become like Demon Princes. Definitely have a leg up on the power spectrum. I mean, my vote goes to Mortarion. Not just because I'm playing Death Guard, but mainly because he has Nurgle's resilience on top of an inhuman physique and demon princiness and all that kind of stuff. Gilliman, because GW won't allow anything else. Galforb, Fulgrim. Andrew, what models did you buy for Maggotkin? Well, I'm going to do there's a video coming out this week that details everything, but I went out and bought an army in a day because I have a problem. And so basically I grabbed 2 Maggotkin Start Collecting boxes. So that's the Blight Kings and the Pluscoil Blight Lord, the guy on flies, and a Blight Lord, or a Lord of Blights. And then I went and bought 2 additional boxes of Blight Kings. And I have everything I need to build a Plague Cyst, Blight Cyst or Plague Cyst battalion. Then I already had a Nurgle's Demon Start Collecting box. And what else? Oh, there's a Harbinger of Decay randomly that someone ordered but didn't actually take up. So that was actually that was a cool purchase of opportunity. So, quite a bit. Vulcan can't die. That is true. Vulcan is what's called a perpetual, so he literally cannot die. Now I'm just stippling on some Nurgle's Rot all along the gums to make them extra gross. Blood for the Blood God, I can take or leave, but Nurgle's Rot is the best technical paint. I guess, what is it, the Nihilic Oxide for doing rust effects is a pretty good second, I will say. Hi Doug, hi all. Hey, Doom and Darkness in the house. #1 internet celebrity, personal hero, and lord of all ogre kind, Doom and Darkness, is in the chat. Hope that was a grand enough entrance for you. The chat's having a debate about what Primarch would win in a Royal Rumble match. I think the true answer is that Vince McMahon would find a way to win. I think that's you know, pretty much guaranteed. I was just about to say that. Got a lot of folks voting for their favorite Primarch here. Okay, okay. I don't necessarily disagree. But you are wrong for not voting Mortarion. Okay, so what we got? I'm trying to think of what's left on this guy. So right now I'm just painting up For those of us who are just joining us, my Feculent Gnarlmaw is my first model for Maggotkin of Nurgle, my next big project. Okay, what's that? I need to grab some yellow. Like no 30 in the Royal Rumble. I do love the thought experiment though. Just to knock down, drag out. It depends. So if we're talking like a true Royal Rumble, like everyone just kind of goes at each other, like oh my gosh, like Civil War style, or at the airport, you know, Marvel Civil War, whatever it was. I think that's different than Mortal Kombat style, where there's like organized fights. Because I think some of those matchups go weird ways when they're all. It depends, like in that big scrum, who picks who, right? Because then you can have those ones that really aren't favored to win, like say Lorgar or Corvus Corax. They can kind of like slink off to the side and wait to see how things turn out and let everyone else punch each other in the face and then come in for the style points at the end. And that's the kind of thing that can happen in a giant Royal Rumble that wouldn't happen in a Mortal Kombat style fight. The real question to me is not who would win, but which of them would act the most like Randy Savage, because I feel like that's the one that would win. I feel like that's Lehman Russ. That's the key to victory. Oh yeah! Got you for 3 minutes of playtime. All right. Cream of the crop. That's right, I gotta do the wings and all the stupid flies. That's what I forgot. Slip into a Slim Jim, yep. I don't know if you want to do that to Slanesh, dude. Fulgrim. I don't know if you want him to be your Slim Jim, but everybody else is on board. I love the Russ Angron fight. It's a good demonstration of all that's wrong. I used 10-year-old GW primer on my new Plague Marines I spent 4 hours putting together. It flecked my model with a 3D coat. What do I do to fix this garbage? Ooh, I don't know, man. Probably paint them. Strip the paint and then try it again with a newer thing of spray. How'd you end up with 10-year-old primer, man? I can't keep an army for 10 months, and you got 10-year-old primer? Let's see. Work in progress. I've never actually like successfully stripped models, so I don't actually really know how to help. But if anyone else knows more than me about strip and paint off plastic models, chime in. Okay. My girlfriend left her skinks in a bowl of LA's Simply Awesome for like a week and a half. Oh, dang. I'm embarrassed that I even tried using that ancient stuff. Oh, don't be embarrassed. People make hobby mistakes all the time. No reason to be embarrassed. I was just surprised that people have held on to the primer for so long. I was more amazed than I was. I meant to be embarrassing or make you feel embarrassed. Driving a forklift with my headphones on so Doug can tell me a story to listen to. Okay. First of all, wait. Are you a geologist? What are you driving a forklift for? But yeah, Doug, is your Nurgle band from anywhere? It is from everywhere. So the lore story that I have going on for my Nurgle warband is that during the beginning of the Age of Chaos, Nurgle needed someone to basically help him spread across Gurion, because there's oceans and there's rivers and lakes and all that kind of stuff. And so what he did was, just like he corrupted a good guy Torglug, he corrupted a captain of a large ferry or vessel. And the basic plot, I'm still kind of exploring the lore, come up with names and that kind of stuff, so it's just still very much a work in progress. But the idea being that he corrupted a ship's captain to be able to use him as a personal ferryman. And so that's what we have here. And so my Nurgle stuff's going to be all nautical themed, which is why the feculent armor I'm painting right now is painted like driftwood. So all nautical themed. I'm going to have some named characters like Gutrot Spoon and all kind of stuff. I want to have something of an emphasis on mortal characters because I want that to be his crew. But also the basic deck hands are going to be demons. So I'm going to have like a whole bunch of plague bearers kind of like manning the ship and, moving the oars or lifting the sails, that kind of stuff, depending on what needed. And the officers of the ship are going to be mortals. And so the Blight Kings that I have, I'm going to be doing like all kinds of pendants and medals. And so all the Blight King stuff's going to be eroded and rotted except for their pendants and medals. And so they kind of give off that thing of like, this is what they value. They value their achievements and their accomplishments, but not so much everything else about themselves because they're all gross and rotty. Interesting, your story is still a work in progress. That's funny. So that's kind of the basic gist of what I'm going for. And so I'm going to be kind of doing not a ton of heavy conversion work. Like there's some key characters I want to do. The demons have to be able to work pretty well in 40k as well because I do play Death Guard. And by that I mean I own Death Guard and haven't played them yet. What else? I think that's pretty much it for the backstory of my dudes. The demons are going to be painted with a sickly kind of purple look. Like pale. There's a little nurgling on here that's going to be that pretty much that same scheme where it's like that kind of sickly gray with a purple tint to it. Beady yellow eyes. Let's see, on the chat question, are you going to use bits from the Gloomtide shipwreck? Maybe eventually. Certainly when I go to build a display board for them, I will. Every single base for the units is going to be... I got a green stuff roller from Green Stuff World that is like wooden planks, so they're all going to be on the deck of a ship. I got those like super tiny mini shells, like from Hobby Lobby type things. They use them a lot in like jewelry and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to put those on the bases, make them all gross. Yeah, and you can't, it doesn't show up super well here, but I kind of like went for some darker floral colors, almost like coral reef type things with Collier Green Shade and Magos Purple on all of the like weird tubey growths all over this. What else? Yeah, that's the plan right now. So got a whole bunch of bits for it. So yeah, right now I'm trying to figure out how to best make the Blight Cyst work. The Blight Cyst is kind of what I want to run, at least initially. Like eventually, there is a list that I met a gentleman at Nova. He runs, and he's been very gracious in talking to me about it, where it really focuses on Puscoil Blight Lords and Lord of Afflictions, and like making basically a Death Star unit out of them. And it looks super cool. Like he was chatting about how it works, and I was like, that sounds amazing. So I definitely want to do something with that, but because that requires, I think, a sum total of 5 of the kits of the Puscoil Blight Lords, that's definitely like a longer term project. I'm not going to run out and spend that kind of coin, but I'm already like 4 of them in because I have the 2-star collecting boxes. So. All right. Cold Shoulder question, are you going to use some green stuff to model peg legs and eye patches? I will for eye patches. The peg legs, I'm actually going to take the butt end of a bunch of spears from the Bone Splitters, because their spears tend to be like kind of jagged and more rough looking. Clip those off and use those as the leg itself, and then green stuff, you know, kind of a gross attachment around it at the knee. Just because that would make them also a uniform shape and size, which I would like, just aesthetically. So that's kind of the idea. It was actually given to me by Ben, one of the ops guys from Nova, who he heard about my idea. I was like, oh, you should do this. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I didn't even thought about that. I'm sure a Deepkin Bits box would have some interesting great fish and tack-on parts. Yes, absolutely. You could see about having some more crab claws, really work on the nautical theme. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be great. Can tear off some Slaanesh bits, that kind of stuff. Ooh, there's a dogfight outside my window. They are not happy. Trying to think of what else I need to do on this guy. So he's pretty much done. You can order Bartello's hat as a bit from War Machine straight from the Privateer Press. What is his name? Bartello. Hold on a second, I'm going to look up that guy. War Machine I used to play War Machine, I don't remember that name. Oh, yeah. I remember the model, though. Maybe I gotta think about that one. How would I make a pirate hat? Jack, question. Can you make a Nurgling dress up like a parrot and stand on your general's shoulder? Yes. I will make that happen. Maybe not on his shoulder, but the Lord of Blights has that like hangman's noose coming off his back. You can definitely perch him up there. I was actually, I have this bit from the, what do you call it, the Knot-hole set, where it's a little bit of scaffolding with a sensor kind of thing, eking off some nastiness. I was actually going to get rid of the heads that the Blight Lord has on kind of his little, I don't know, hangman's noose thing, and put this on there. I could put a little Nurgling parrot up there. That'd be fun. Use Poxwalkers as Marauders. Yeah, you could definitely do that. I'm looking at mine because I have them for Death Guard, and I'm not opposed to using those for sure. I would want to do like that would be an intense conversion project for me, and they're all like snap fit, so I want to think about how I would do that. One of the Ogre Man-Eaters has a Noblar or Grot that's dressed up as a parrot. That's awesome. I didn't know that. I'm just scanning around this dude's base looking for stuff that I may have missed. Oh, I need to dry brush that chain. That's what it is. There we go. Stormhost Silver is the best. You can use Snazzy Nurgling. The Snazzy Nurgling has a Death Guard helmet though on, doesn't he? Sassy Nurgling. Maybe I'm thinking of a different guy. Make sure they use seagulls. That's funny. Yeah, he'll definitely have a... And then I'm going to run to... Well, it's almost Halloween, so all those like super cheap little Halloween decorations are coming out. So like, little skeletons. I posted one on Instagram of like a skeletal fish or like that. Like definitely thinking about grabbing some of those for doing fancy basing or display board, that kind of stuff. Pirate theme makes me want the vampire faction from Total War. Yeah, they're pretty sweet. I have yet to beat them in the game because they just come in and wreck my freaking face. Oh yeah. Let's see. Seriously though, Furies of Harpies, whatever, like really good for Nurgle. What do they do for Nurgle? I'm curious. I have them. I mean, I haven't built them yet. They're with the terrain, but I'm curious as to what you think they do. Like what you envision them doing for Nurgle, because I have not heard anyone talk about them. Just bought Total War 2 after getting tired of waiting for a significant price drop. Anyone have any recommendations for DLC? Well, there's quite a few free ones. And I think that's always a great place to start, because why not? Like, if you look on the Steam store, quite a few of them are just free download. They're cool, little hero editions, that kind of stuff. So get all the free stuff first. Poking in some Riser Rust here. Fast moving, relatively cheap. Oh, what is this? Fast moving, relatively cheap, and amazing at capturing backfield objectives. Okay, I'll check it out. I keep trying to ask for advice with building Maggotkin and Nurgle lists, and most of what I get is people being like, they're not that great. They don't rank the best. It's just like, no, I know there's some. I mean, for the kind of play that I want to do, where it's like I just want to not embarrass myself or go, completely unwinning, not winning a single game at an event. Like, I know what I want is achievable. Ain't looking to win anything. Save my best painted. Maggotkin has been doing well lately, hasn't it? I have no idea. I can help you with that, Doug. Ooh. See, other YouTubers know what they're doing with this game. I don't know what I'm doing. I get a bunch of questions like in my inbox about like, people like, oh yeah, how can I be better as like a corn player? I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. But if you tell me, if you find out, you let me know. I don't know. Do I sound like Tom Lyons? I don't know what I'm doing here competitively. Let's see. Top tables at a fair bit recently. Yeah, I think there's some gas in the engine. I know like what is it? The Thricefold Befoulment, the 3 Great Unclean ones. That list has had some gas in the engine just because they can deal with a lot. I mean, they can get out there and wreck some stuff. Still trying to get Slaves to Darkness to work. So was I for a while. New Nurgle book wouldn't be entirely unexpected in the next year or two, would it? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's not an urgent need. Like, they're all in the 2nd edition kind of wavelength. I think it's one of the, in terms of like, obviously excluding the Auric stuff, because that's all we know that's getting updated. It's one of the only new edition books that still doesn't have like, so like Blight Kings, they don't have an unmodified hit roll of a 6 makes them explode. It's a 6+. Like, that's like the last remnant. And it's interesting that it carried over. It's just in that weird in between editions type space. So whereas everything since then has been updated to be unmodifieds and that kind of junk. I'm just scanning this guy looking for anything. I gotta get his horns. They're just enough. Okay. Question, what are your thoughts on the new Goblin Wolf Rider Underworlds faction? I mean, I think they look fantastic. I wouldn't read too much into it as far as like, oh my gosh, they're bringing back classic, classic style of goblins. I can't tell you, I don't know. But, I mean, the models look stunning. They just are very technically well done. Very cool stuff. I'm interested to see how they'll play, because I mean, like, Underworlds, usually if you have fewer models, you're pretty tough, and I don't know how they're going to represent that, because like the goblin should be You know, not the strongest things. I mean, they're on mount, so they can be a little bit tougher than, like, the Gloomspite gets. That would make sense, but they also shouldn't be, like, Stormcast tough just because they got a wolf underneath them. Misdirection pocket sand, exactly. That's what I feel like most Underworld releases are nowadays. Pocket sand! Let's see. So right now, this is the most important phase where you just kind of scan around the model looking for stuff, and I found something. Let's see. Gilliman. Snakebite. Here we go. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Yeah, what that could mean as far as the faction goes, but I don't know. Kind of coming up empty. Looking at a recent tournament, the Maggotkin, Vermin Lord, and 5x3 Chaos Warriors, Plague Monks. Ooh. That's gross, though. That sounds like a terrible thing to run. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like I would get, like, back problems just leaning over the table moving all those freaking Plague Monks. I totally get it. It's, you know, jamming enough Plague Monks at a problem will definitely solve issues. Actually, I had an idea. I'm going to thin down some Black Templar and put it at the base and try to make it look like the tree is sapping the life of the ground right immediately beneath it. I think that sounds cool. Movement trays. Oh, I understand the concept of movement trays, but that's your typical... Oh, here's the problem. Movement trays suck when you charge into combat. Like, they just get in the way. So you're saying at that point is like what I would want to do when I had my big horde armies was have people charge off of the movement trays. Well, then you're still doing the same thing, and you got to reset them between each round. It's still a lot of work, even with movement trays. It really helps you with the first turn, maybe two, but that's about it. What does Sigmar use to hold up his pants? A Balthazar belt. Oh my gosh, get out of here. We're trying to put your terrible Sigmar puns on me. Gotta do some homework tonight, y'all. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna hang up here, hop off in a little bit as well. This guy is pretty much done, and I am liking him. I think he has turned out pretty excellently. All right. I should get some sleep. Nice chatting. Yeah, looks like we're all getting tired, except for Doom and Darkness, who isn't allowed to fall asleep whilst operating a forklift. We are just wrapping up on this guy, and I am loving it. I'll take some fancy pictures in the photo box for everyone to take a look at if you're interested. But I can at least show off the way the demons are going to look and that kind of stuff. All right, friends, I'm going to go ahead and hop off and get me some dinner. It's 7:30 here. I look forward to chatting with you all. Just like last week, I was able to get all my videos done ahead of time and schedule them out. So look forward to a whole bunch of live streams and junk. So it should be exciting. People tend to like those kinds of things. So yeah, I'll be here probably roughly the same time. Maybe start a little bit later tomorrow, and we'll start cracking up and building some actual Blight Kings and junk. So I'm excited for that. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed tomorrow's lore video, and happy wargaming.